Welcome back to the final episode of Where Blades Walk. Hope you're all doing well. We are live streaming this on the internet on Sunday night as well. So thank you very much for watching live, or if you're watching this back. My name's Mark. We've got Dan, Connor, and Shex with us to, of course, preview the big one, the playoff championship final this weekend against Sunderland at Wembley. The 10th time the Blades have gone through it, a playoff, some sort of campaign, and not once have they been promoted. This weekend, that can all change. We're going to, of course, look back at the Bristol City game, and we've got a Sunderland fan waiting by as well to come on and give us his thoughts on this weekend's game. Shax, we missed you for a couple of weeks. How are you, fella? Ticket bought, hotel booked, confident?
Yeah, tickets bought. I'm going down on coach there and back, so I'll not be staying in a hotel. Confident after watching 46 games plus them 2 against Bristol. Yeah, I am confident. I shouldn't be because it's Sheffield United and it's Wembley, but I just think we've got enough this time. I just think that team's good enough. And I watched. Obviously, I know that that's not a reflection of what's going to happen. I watched Sunderland versus Coventry. And honestly, I thought Coventry were a better side. So I've not thought much to Sunderland for the last couple of months. I watched them in them 2 games. I thought they weren't very good in them 2 games either. Obviously, just hope that we can get it done on day.
Yeah, we'll get our Sunderland fans' reactions to that in a second. Connor, you breezed Bristol City aside 6-0 on aggregate, the highest aggregate score for any playoff semi-final that there's been. What did we learn about your team in the second leg?
I think they just sort of breathed a bit of confidence into him. Obviously, all season we've struggled to score goals, and then it's just typical. We're going to playoffs and we get 3 goals in both games comfortably. To be honest, I don't think Bristol were much opposition. I think once that red card and we took control at first tie, it seemed pretty straightforward for us. But like I say, we Sunderland, they're a dangerous side. The pace that they've got, you see it over both legs. They weren't the better team, but they just got that pace in the side where you give them a chance. You mess up once in defence and boom, they can be in. And with a playoff final, it's not over 2 legs, it's over 1. So it's who's going to turn up on day, and you can't call it really. We both beat each other, but you just feel like everyone's wrote us off. It sort of not really gives us a free hit, but it sort of takes a bit of pressure off them because everyone's expecting it with our record, and I really think we can get into it and really give it a good go. And I don't know why, like Shaq says, you shouldn't feel confident. We United in playoffs, but it feels different this time. Wilder's in charge. Bang on 100 years since we've not won at Wembley. It just seems like it's written in the stars for us to go and get the win.
If you're watching live, welcome. Do drop us a comment in particular who you think should start, because Dan, there's been this debate about 2 up top, and it's certainly worked for those games against Bristol City. But with the Sunderland pace, does he now need to revert back?
No, I think he's fell on a formation. I think since Burnley, it's made us. I think it's made us perform better. I think his performances have been better. You can see that we look like we're going to score more goals. I think I won't worry too much about the opposition. I think we've got to worry about what we can do, and that's what wins the game really. Our defensive record speaks for itself as well. Another 2 clean sheets in playoffs. I think they've dealt with different types of forwards all season, and they've got to deal with 2 more. But I think I think it's our time, to be honest. And I know I've been quite confident all season, and I got that wrong, didn't I, with Leeds predictions? But this time I do fancy it. Nothing lasts forever. The record can't keep going on and on. It's going to end at some point, and as Connor said, I think it's the Chris Wilder factor as well. Getting those players lifted. You could see it over the 2 games. I think even the squad, right down to the substitutes who come on, everybody wants it. And you just seen that little bit extra 10-15% in the performance levels, and the way they've stepped up, they were just ruthless and could quite easily have scored 4 or 5 in both games, which I think is frightening because we haven't really looked like that for most of the season. I know we've been winning games, but I don't think that two strikers is a big change for us.
Okay. Shaks, can I ask you about this thing that people keep talking about, the hoodoo, if you like, and whether it has any bearing at all on this game? So, as we mentioned, 4 finals at Wembley, none of them won. Never gone up through this playoff route since it's existed in the early 80s, and you've been there 8 times. Does that have any bearing at all on Saturday? Because this is a new set of players, it's a new, just different manager. Do you think psychologically it counts for nothing?
I think psychologically it affects us because you've just said then, so that's since 8. Well, we've all been fans since then. Players change, managers change, but we don't. So we're the same set of fans that make the same journey, that go to the same ground to watch the same team, Sheffield United, if you like. So psychologically it affects me, yeah, because I hate the place, if I'm honest. I'd have much rather got it done like Burnley and Leeds have done, but it's your punishment, if you like, for not coming first or second. It's a nice thing if you win it, but for other 3, it's horrible, isn't it? It's not a nice thing. So if you lose, it is a bit of a punishment. And that drive up M1, I've done it. I did it when Wembley were getting built back from Cardiff and all. So you can chuck that in as well. That Millennium Stadium, that's another ground I hate. So I think the only people that it affects psychologically is the fans. But like Dan said, it's a different set of players, different manager. The fans aren't playing, the players are playing. So hopefully it's not in their minds. None of them have had to deal with it. So it's just us. So hopefully it's us that get rewarded. We can break it in our heads, and then we'll go on to Premier League.
And regular viewers, Sheks, will have heard you saying a number of times, look, it doesn't really bother if you go up or not. You're not particularly that fussed about it. Are you still, that. Yeah, even though it's the week before.
100%. Listen, if we lose that Saturday tea time and that Saturday drive home, dealing with kids whinging at me all the way home, that'll be crap. Monday when you get to work, Tuesday I work in Nottingham, so I'll have Odd Forest fans helping at me. Once that's out of the way and fixtures come out for the Championship, listen, hand on my heart, I'm not bothered. I'm quite looking forward to going to Wrexham away. I've already planned my days around some of them Championship games next season. If we go to the Premier League, I asked my daughter this question earlier and she picked Premier League. And I said, honestly, I think I prefer Championship. So for me, Championship's a better league. Obviously, we've got to go and try and win the game. That's what we're all doing it for. But I mean, what a consolation prize! You know what I mean? Another season, battling it out. Another 6 points off idiots down road. You know what I mean? It's not all bad if we lose. Don't worry about it.
All right, Jamie's here. Jamie, welcome. Thank you for commenting. Jamie's off to Wembley as well. Looking forward to it all. Right, let's bring in our Sunderland fan then, shall we? Leo, who's from our opposite network podcast, Where Black Cats Walk. Here he is somewhere. There he is. Evening, Leo. How you doing?
Doing good. Interesting to hear some of the answers so far.
Steady on now. Behave. You're outnumbered. Let's have a quick look back at the history then between these two this season, shall we, Connor? First of all, So first of all, at your place, Connor, we'll remember, won't we? Suter, Metham got sent off first, and then literally 4 minutes later, Suter had a mad moment and evened up. And then, of course, who can forget Tom Davis's? I think you had this down as one of your favourite moments of the season, Connor, didn't you? Tom Davis's 83rd minute. 83rd minute winner. I bumped into Tom Davis today. Goodness, that's weirdly. Needs a haircut. What did you learn of Sunderland from that game? And actually, have Sunderland one of the sides that are giving you some of the better games this season in terms of pushing you to your limits?
Yeah, what I like with Sunderland is one thing United tend to struggle with is teams where they're going to sit back and they want us to come at them and break them down. When we're playing your teams like Sunderland, they want to play football just as much as we do. So it's a bit more end-to-end, it's a bit more open, a bit more football actually being played and not just a bank of 10 and then watching us come at them sort of thing. We're end-to-end. Chances, either end, penalties were missed in both games. It could have gone either way both times. And that's what I like to see, where we have them games where we go at teams, and a lot of the times when we do play those sort of games, we do come out on top. We, like I said, the quality of the players we've got, I think overall, like I said, we've got one of the, if not one of the best squads in the league. And no disrespect to Sunderland whatsoever. They've got some great players, but like we're saying against Coventry, I think they struggled in moments. Coventry just didn't take the chances. Sunderland did, and it's just that threat that they've got on the counter that could be detrimental to us winning.
Right then, Leo, you've heard it all. You've had lots of Sheffield United fans, including this lot, saying Coventry were the better side in those games. You didn't look very good, and that means that they've got little worries on Saturday. Are you having any of that?
Well, the way I look at that semi-final is like, yeah, you can say they had the better play on the ball, but I see that as us letting them do that, as Connor's just said. We've kind of, I think we kind of took that semi-final as a way of, we're going to take that same tactic into the final of, okay, you can come at us, and you can come at us with the quality you've got, but we've got a brick wall at centre back, and you're not going to get past them. But I think in terms of the final, I don't see how we can go in thinking we can play this type of expansive, energetic football after having such a successful semi-final with the tactic of letting the waves of attack come on us and us catching them on the counter. You've looked at the previous results between us this season, and that New Year's Day game where we won 2-1, it was literally Isidore getting played on a counter and Mayenda pouncing on a mistake, exactly how it happened against Coventry in that first leg. I don't see how we go into this game with any other sort of mindset of all of a sudden we can dominate a game. I don't think that's what we're going to do, because like Connor said, when you look at the squads, I think in terms of the whole 11 on the team sheet, it is kind of similar. But when you look at Sheffield United in terms of their star power and their standout players, it is a level above us. When you look at Hamer and Burrows, when you compare that to our best players, yes, they are a level above us. But the squad as a whole, I kind of see it as quite similar. I think it's going to be a really good game, and it's very tough to call.
Dan, do you agree with that it's going to be a case of we're going to be watching you with lots of the possession, lots of the ball, and then playing on the break? Do you see it going that way?
Yes and no. I think it's going to be more even based on possession. I really do. I think the ways that Sheffield United play on the press and a lot of things like that. I think we're going to see a different game compared to the two that we saw with Coventry. But I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think there's much in it. I think obviously the league positions, the two teams who are in the final deserve to be third and fourth, how it should be. But yeah, it's going to be one of them. We're a different team to Coventry, totally different team to Coventry. And I think that Chris Wilder's not going to be as daft in terms of, he might try and do a little bit of what Sunderland's done to Coventry and let them have the ball a little bit more, and we do the opposite of what Sunderland did to Coventry, and we be the counter team. So it's going to be interesting, but we'll see what happens on Saturday.
Yeah. Would you prefer to play Coventry, Dan?
I don't really mind. I think it is what it is. I think whoever you play, you've got to beat them, haven't you? We've had two good games with Sunderland, two close games. So I don't really mind, to be honest. I think, you have to play one of them, so I weren't particularly bothered either who we played.
Okay. It kind of escaped you all, and Shax, I'll put this to you if that's all right. That most of the footballing world is with Sunderland this Saturday.
It's not escaped anybody that it's always going to be Sunderland. It's always going to be that.
Here's a few ones. Please, Sunderland, please. The whole country is behind you. We cannot have Sheffield United back in the top flight, says one. Get Sunderland back in the Prem. We cannot have Sheffield United polluting the league for another season, says another. I speak for everyone. I say when we all want Sunderland back in the Premier League. It's been a long time. Shax, do you think Wilder's going to use that? And I mean, for me, he thrives off that kind of it's us against the world kind of mentality. That's going to help him.
I've read loads of them. Like we can't have Sheffield United in league. They're not good enough. Sheffield United are just going to get hammered We've finished about 16 points in front of Sunderland. So what do they think Sunderland are going to achieve that we're not going to? You know what I mean? If you look at league, they're worse than us. So to think that they're just going to have this sort of magic spell and do something that we're not, I mean, I don't know. I don't care if Oak World's win. I'm not bothered. I prefer it that way, and I should imagine Wilder does as well.
I think he definitely does.
It doesn't matter to me. I think going back to that last question, if we turn up and play our best, then we win. That's it. Because if they play their best, it won't be enough because we're a better side. If we don't play as best and they play their best, then they'll win. But if we turn up and play our best, game over. They aren't got anything that can beat our best.
Yeah. Theo says, pretty much whole country wants us to lose. Please go and ruin another fairy tale. Please, Sheffield United. Dan says, I think this narrative comes from COVID. Means a lot have forgotten about us being tipped for European football not so long ago. Right then, Leo, when we asked your lot for score predictions and everything, you all came out confident of a 2-1. What have you seen of Sheffield United as a Sunderland fan then that makes you so confident you are going to be in the bars in London on Saturday night getting absolutely sloshed?
Well, I think I'm not going to take into account games from the season too much because we came into these playoff campaign with absolutely no form at all, and we're here in the final now. But if you were to look back over those two games, you are going to look at the fact that they were both the toss of a coin for a very long time. Both games was with the away team missing a penalty in the first half and then the end result going in the way of the home team. That's how close it has been in those past two games. What's the determining factor for me in terms of me thinking we're going to win is how much is actually riding on Sheffield United in terms of the future of the club. I think the setup of our club with all of our youth and the development that we've got going on, I think even if we don't win this game, we're in a very good position for future seasons. Although Sheffield will be in a good position next season if they lose this game, you've got to think when they start to lose those parachute payments, when their best players start to get picked up by top level teams, because the players they've got in their team deserve to be in the top level, some of them, the likes of Homer, which I've already said, I think he'll go if they were to lose this game straight away, basically. I think the pressure that's riding on the game in terms of the future of the club can definitely be a determining factor for what the players think going into the game. And I think that's what's going to push us over the line.
Just a word of advice on Saturday: don't walk around calling them Sheffield because you won't make it.
They're
to
the
stadium.
only team that matters in Sheffield, though. Really, aren't they?
Okay.
Like, no one cares about the other one.
Good answer.
I'll let him off now.
We'll let you have that one.
Yeah.
Right, Connor. Paraphrasing what Leo says, he says all the pressure is on you guys. Then, can you agree to some extent that this is more important that you win this game than for Sunderland?
Well, I mean, bookies and most places are going to have us as favourites just due to us obviously just coming back down from Premier League. But end of the day, it's a playoff final. Pressure is going to be massive for both clubs, regardless of what's going to happen afterwards. I mean, yeah, we might lose a couple of players, like maybe Ema, Souza, but I mean, when you look at our academy and the players we've got coming through, the likes of Peck and our Blaster's Binart and Brooks and Femi Sirike, and we've got so much talent coming through. I'd be gutted to lose it and lose a few of the key players, but I think we've got a really strong squad. Obviously, new owners. While they're still in charge, I think even if we didn't go up, I think we've still got a massive chance of just having another crack at it next season. But at the same time, a lot of clubs have brought us off. Obviously, previous record is abysmal in playoffs. Everyone wants us to lose as well. So I think at the same time, it sort of relieves a bit of the pressure off the players. And Wilder's still going to have it drilled into them and telling them how big this game is and how important it is. But I just think that factor in everyone's wrote us off already. I think it's going to incentivise the players a bit more to want to do well. And it's also just going to maybe take a little bit of the pressure off for them.
Okay. There's a debate going on in the comments. As Emo says, to your point, Leo, Sunderland will lose most of the stars, and I suppose that's a fair point, isn't it? I mean, Bellingham's already been touted as interested. Rigg is also potentially off to United, so it's likely, Leo, even if you don't go up yourself, that you are going to probably find yourself without two of your biggest stars.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is glaringly obvious that there are going to be two likely names, maybe a couple more that go out from the club if we lose this game. But I was talking in terms of the demographic of the club and what we've got by being very youth-based. I see us over the next 2-3 seasons, even if we don't go up this year, still being up there and battling for promotion over these next couple of years. What I was saying about Sheffield is, yes, they're probably still in a position to go up next season. But then if they lose that one, that's another year without that parachute payment. That's where I saw that kind of going downhill.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just in a better position in terms of that.
Okay. Dan Shane says Wilder can't handle this pressure. Do you think that's... I mean, I don't sure where that one comes from, Shane. Perhaps you could kind of let us know. Dan, do you think actually the reverse might be true? That actually, I mean, Leo's only been here a year, hasn't he? He's not really been faced with the kind of the...
He can't handle the pressure. He handled the pressure of taking United into Premier League at the expense of Leeds a few years ago. Won League One at a cancer. Can't handle the pressure. Is that another supporter or another person wanting him to fail? I don't understand how somebody can say he can't handle the pressure when it's proved that he can. I talk to people about this success. I talk to people about 92 points, third, two magnificent teams in front of us. What pressure? It irritates me, Mark. It really does, because there's a desperation for people to see him fail. An absolute desperation for people, even as own supporters. I just find it cringeworthy. It's just, coming from this season. I mean, going back to his previous comment about the players that will lose. Same as Sunderland will be in a great position with the academies and going to Cat 1 and things like that. It's not a big deal, but sorry, Mark, it's just riled me, that comment. It's just, I don't understand. It can't handle the pressure. It's
we can't validate that he's not a United fan. Here's a nicer one from Mo says, do it for George, and I think that's going to be the mantra. Absolutely, Adrian with that as well. Michael says, what will be will be. It's Wembley. Someone will be a Sheffield United's hero. Just hoping the hero is going to be a Sheffield one. Right, Leo, we'll let you go in a second, but before we do, let's hear your score prediction and how the game's going to go, shall we?
Yeah, I said it on the Sunderland channel. I see us getting an early lead, and then Sheffield pulling one back, and that being probably the worst last half an hour of my entire life watching the rest of that game. But it's more of a hope than an educated guess, but I'm going with 2-1 Sunderland.
Okay, right. Cheers for that. Now we hear that Sunderland are taking over Trafalgar Square on Friday night. Is that right, Leo?
Yeah, we do it every time. And the mags up the road can try and say they do it as well, but we'll bother about them next season when we're playing them. So.
All right, okay. Right, well, as a neutral, I can wish all of you good luck. Cheers, Leo, for dropping on. Really massively appreciate it. You won't want it going to penalties as a Sunderland fan, by the way, will you? Because what's your record your record in penalties this season is 5 penalties given, and how many scored?
I think it's 1, and that was maybe the 5th game of the season or something, Plymouth away, and then we've missed our last 4 in a row. So a penalty during the game or it going to penalties, and I have absolutely zero confidence.
Brilliant. And of course, we'll all remember the famous penalty. Well, you might not actually, really, because the Charlton Sunderland playoff semi-final.
I've watched it back enough times to feel like I remember it. I feel like I remember it in my heart because I've watched it back that many times. Let's hope that doesn't happen again.
All right, bro. Thanks, Leo, for dropping in. All the best. Yeah. Enjoy the game, and we'll catch up with you soon. Cheers. Gosh. Right, you four, let's have a chat about how you think it's going to go. Shax, what's your prediction?
3-0 United. I think we're going to carry it 3-0. 3-0's on, I think. I just think I just think we got too much from it. I didn't want to sound too disrespectful to him, but I think they're crap. I honestly do. I watched them over 2 games against Coventry. Reece, obviously, I'm not going to judge them on games from September and October. I'm going to judge them on what I've seen recently. The last 2-3 months, obviously, I've kept an eye on them, and everybody who's played them just about got something off them. And then I had a bit of an interest in obviously watching them play Coventry, see what we're up against, and they were not very good. I mean, that goal that they scored, they're raving about it. He's got a free header. He's about 6'5", and he's got no one within it anywhere near him, and he nearly got that wrong. He's sort of jumping 3 days too early. So like I said, if we turn up and play our best, we beat them. That's end of story. It don't matter how they play. If we play our best, we win that game because our best is better than all they've got.
Okay, Connor, 3-0. Any advance on that?
I want to agree with Shaq. I think as long as we get that first goal, I think the success we've had in the playoff games, it's been due to the fact we've had everyone, well, near enough everyone fit, and we've had that strength on bench, and we've been able to bring them subs on, and they've changed game massively. Like first game, even though we had that man advantage, it just didn't seem like it. And then once we brought Aware on, Brooks, and it livened things up, it just seemed to give us that extra edge we needed. And then same second game, once we bring them subs on, it just seems to change game, and it makes us stronger throughout the season constantly while they were making subs. And the lack of quality we had on the bench at the time, it were doing the opposite effect and making us worse if all. And it just seems now if everyone's back, they've all just seemed to come back at right time. I want to agree with Shags, mate. I'll go for 3-0.
Okay. Dan?
Yeah, again, I think, a lot of people talk about form goes out at window coming into playoffs, and I've spoke to a few friends. I totally disagree. We went into that playoffs on decent form, proved how much better than Bristol City we were, and I think we'll prove how much better than Sunderland we are, because the fact is, for me, playing the 2 forwards, changing that system has been the key to has been playing so well in the last few games. It really has. Whether he reverts back in the final to 1, I don't know, but that's just for me. We've gone and scored goals. We've looked dangerous against Burnley. We looked dangerous in every game. We've played 2 strikers. We've looked dangerous. We've created a lot of chances, and if we do that against Sunderland, they'll not be able to live with the players we've got. Gus Raymer popping up in pockets, and I remember when we had the Bristol City boys on about Gus Raymer. I know the red card changed the whole complexion of that tie, but you just, I don't know, there's something else there. Like Connor said, we've got everybody fit. You've got 1 or 2 boys that you've got long-term injuries. Everyone's fit. Something's going to have to go wrong majorly, or we're going to have to make defensive errors or just errors throughout the team for us to lose. For me, I think we'll be too strong. But again, it's a playoff final. Anything can happen. Early red card, as we saw against Bristol City, that can change all game. And if you go 1-0 down, we've seen them in the playoffs. They're just sitting, and then you've got to find a way to break them down. So I do think the first goal is important. If we get it, I think we'll run away with it, to be honest.
All right. Emma raises a great point here. Cheers for your comments, by the way, everyone. It's really massive appreciated. The loss at Sunderland, we were on our feet. We had no strength in depth at that time. Now we've got a full strength squad. Cheers for that, Emma. Michael says, yeah, if United are win, I'm going to go with 1-0, and that'll do for me.
That'll do me as well.
It's not going to do for us neutrals.
I'll take 1-0, yeah.
Us neutrals are going to want, we want a good 4-3, please. That'll be smashing. Right, it is the last episode of the series tonight. So before we let you go, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has liked or commented on any of the previous 40 odd episodes we've done here. Once a week we meet and chat all things Sheffield United. It's been an absolute pleasure to sit along this little journey with you. I'll be there at Wembley on Friday night and Saturday night. And myself, of course, we're trying to cover the League One playoff as well, in anticipation of either Charlton or Leyton Orient joining us in the Championship next season. You won't care one bit which one of them wins that, because hopefully you won't be here. Fingers crossed anyway. Shax, Dan, Connor, it's been an absolute pleasure this season. Good luck on Saturday. May the best team win, and thank you for all your contributions.
Question mark. I'm going to put you on the spot again, like I've done before. Who do you want to win? Come on.
I want
He
football
wants
to win.
Sunderland, doesn't he? He wants Sunderland
Of
because he
course
wants
he does.
us
They all want Sunderland, don't they?
I'm a Barclays fan. I can't deny I'm a Barclays fan. We need. No, look. May the best team win on the day, and hopefully no dodgy VAR decisions for us to have to come back and
forgot
talk
about
to you
that.
about either. Yeah, VAR's there as well, isn't it?
Oh, God. Forgot about that. Can't change that prediction. Jack Robinson sent off 2 minutes in.
Yeah, well, someone needs to tell Luke O'Nien that there's VAR as well, because if you've seen him, my goodness, Luke O'Nien red card is the best bet you can have this weekend, guaranteed. Right, cheers, fellas.
Can I just say an hello to Dave Vaughan as well? I was supposed to do it a few weeks ago. My mate's dad, he's had a bad knee, he's had a knee operation, and I believe it's popped out again, so he can't go to Wembley. He was coming to Wembley, and now his knee's gone again, so he can't come. So, Dave, you can cheer us on telly. His gob's that big, we might hear him at Wembley from Sheffield anyway.
There we go. Finish on down. It says, good luck, chaps. Hope you do it. And we see Coops in the Premier. However, it goes to Pence. Coops diving out the way of Pence. Probably from a Plymouth fan. Right. Thank you very much, all of you. Have a good one. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great summer, of course, as well. We'll be back here the last week of July as we welcome, hopefully, Premier League chat back to this channel. See you then.
Nice one.
Cheers. See you later.